day and be in tomorrow's books. The elections are coming. Register for and get your voter's card, your power card. As a citizen, and especially as a young lady or lad, lend your voice, use your voice, talk, say, and tell the world the time of day.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Slavery is an evil practice abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa.
We need to work to achieve the ambition that we have for our region.
53rd Summit of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government opens in Lomé, Togo, with prospects of a single currency for the sub-region.
It helps clarify consumers' expectations of providers and the providers' responsibilities to consumers.
Federal government launches acceptable standard health care delivery in Nigeria for consumer satisfaction.
The troops have to be alert to ensure that they maintain the security that is required.
Nigerian Army gears up to checkmate armed banditry in Kaduna and Zamfara states. And the court stops swearing in of a new Imo State Deputy Governor. Hello and welcome to NTA Network News with me, Muhammad Kuda Abubakar in Abuja. In Lagos, we have Elizabeth Omori, and in Jos is Mariam Adura, while in Port Harcourt, we have Vivian Ziadife. Political and security issues and their implications to peace, stability, and sustainable future dominated discussion at the 53rd Summit of the ECOWAS Heads of State and Government in Lomé, the capital of Togo. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the summit, which is also expected to take a decision on the proposed single currency for the West African sub-region. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
Although the year 2020 has been fixed as the takeoff date for the circulation of the ECOWAS common currency, not everyone in the sub-region is on board with the idea. In fact, President Muhammadu Buhari, leader of the largest economy in Africa, had cause to caution the region on the need to tread carefully about the plan. Extracting some commitment from the Nigerian leader at this meeting in Lomé is therefore critical if the deadline is to be finally met after several postponements.
I support that strongly. I believe that when you expand that horizon, you create a bigger market. I believe that the maritime corridors gets widened, the trade gets broader, the over 200 million Nigerians have opportunity to vacillate and migrate within the ECOWAS corridor and reduce the tension and create an equilibrating platform both for the economy and sociology of the people of Africa.
Apart from the common currency issue, the West African leaders are also expected to be updated on the presidential election in Mali, as well as the political situation in Guinea-Bissau and Togo. At the opening of the summit, ECOWAS chairman, President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo, commended member countries for their commitment to the ideals and values of the community, but said more needs to be done towards achieving the desired economic integration, peace, stability, and sustainable future.
I also need to pursue our efforts for better solutions to all our problems. I have to recognize the personal commitment of all of you in this exercise of regional integration while putting together our efforts in the face of more and more significant challenges that we have to cope with.
Despite some positive developments, the peace and security landscape in the sub-region continues to be dominated by disturbing developments, including attacks by terrorist groups that destroy lives, property, and livelihoods, exerting unbearable pressure on the resources of the governments of the Sahel countries and the Lake Chad Basin. The United Nations support renewed efforts, particularly by LCBC countries, to refill Lake Chad, which we hope will be taken up as an AU strategic priority.
During the ceremony, Mr. Jean-Claude Cassie-Brow, an Ivorian, was formally sworn in as president of the ECOWAS Commission.
We need to work to achieve the ambition that we have for our region, that is to move to an ECOWAS of peoples, and indeed an ECOWAS which will be a community where freedom, democracy, and progress reigns. It will be a shared good. This task is enormous, but it is possible.
5 judges of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, including Nigeria's Dupe Atoki, were also inaugurated to exercise their powers honorably, faithfully, impartially, and conscientiously. President Mother Bio of Sierra Leone, attending for the first time, was formally welcomed by his colleagues, while a moment of silence was observed in honor of the late Professor Adebayo Adedeji of Nigeria for his immense contributions to ECOWAS. From Lome, the Republic of Togo, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still in Lome, the ECOWAS heads of state and government have elected President Muhammadu Buhari as the new chairman of this sub-regional body. President Buhari, who has already taken over the mantle of leadership, is to run the affairs of the ECOWAS for a period of 1 year. President Buhari said he is honored and humbled by the appointment and promises to do his best in taking the organization to greater heights. He noted that though he resisted the appointment, his fellow heads of state said they will not take no for an answer. Back home, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has unveiled Nigeria's Patient Bill of Rights, developed by the Consumer Protection Council and its allies. The Vice President notes that while the ultimate goal of the bill is to ensure that a patient stays alive in good health, it is important that the journey to the realization of the goal is dependent on the full preservation of human dignity. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has more.
Arguably, there is negative perception of attitudes prevalent in the nation's healthcare systems and institutions. This Patient's Bill of Rights, as the Vice President says, is a significant contribution in establishing one of the most important rights of all humanity, the right to life. The nation is setting and committing to a new standard that both acknowledges and commits to uphold some of the most fundamental principles of humanity. One thing, he says, must not be forgotten by caregivers is the respect for human dignity, which he notes is a universal principle.
The preeminent human right is the right to life. But the right to life is a hollow platitude where life itself is without respect for the dignity of the individual. The Patient's Bill of Rights is the bridge of dignity that links the right to life and minimum standards of healthcare that all of us deserve just by being human beings.
Government, he explains, is acutely aware of the challenges of Nigeria's health sector, and the reason it's pursuing the attainment of universal health coverage in Nigeria. In the 2018 budget, government allocates 1% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund towards the funding of key health initiatives in compliance with the National Health Act.
The Patient's Bill of Rights is a very timely complement to these policy and funding interventions. It will ensure that the increased funding that is coming into the healthcare system in Nigeria translates into a direct improvement in the quality of the final output at what one might call the last mile phase of healthcare delivery.
The Patient Bill of Rights is an aggregation of patients' rights that exist in other instruments, including the Constitution, Consumer Protection Act, Child Rights Act, Freedom of Information Act, the National Health Act, and other professional ethical codes and sundry regulations.
The commitment of this administration to revamping the Nigerian health system by making the primary care system the fulcrum of achieving excellent health services for our people, while upgrading the tertiary health institutions to deliver quality care when needed and minimizing medical tourism.
It represents our collective commitment to improving care. This turning point in our development as a nation has been a long time coming. It represents a point where we set a new culture for ourselves. It is now up to us to ensure that that culture survives.
There were goodwill messages, all pledging their cooperation with the Consumer Protection Council on the bill. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifati, NTA News.
The Patient Bill of Rights is a document that articulates the rights and responsibilities of patients and healthcare providers for optimal consumer satisfaction. Chimdimba NDBC in this report says the bill is described as a code and standard-setting tool for patient-caregivers relationship.
Emergency. The nurse was like, they've closed.
When my daughter wanted to put to bed, she was standing there when baby came and they saw baby in her hand.
These experiences are few of many cases of complaints by clients who patronize healthcare facilities but return with tales of woes as regards quality of service delivery. The increasing cases of such patient-healthcare provider relationship informed the decision of the Consumer Protection Council to draft the Patient's Bill of Rights. The document provides for patients' rights to information in understandable language, urgent medical intervention, clean and secure environment, treatment with respect, timely access to medical records, which should be confidential, and expression of dissatisfaction of poor services.
When you walk into a facility, the services that are to be should be displayed in that place. And the patient have a right to be treated before money.
We will stand by this bill. We shall join the CPC in creating more awareness.
This development, many say, is long overdue.
It will help them at length in knowing what is the problem, and from there they could plan from their little resources.
The bill is translated into 3 major Nigerian languages and Pidgin English, with its implementation to take immediate effect. Chimdimba Ndubisi, NTA News.
292 million persons are estimated to be active carriers of hepatitis B virus globally, with 22 million of Nigerians affected by the disease. Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewole, announced this in Abuja at an activity to mark 2018 World Hepatitis Day. Basi Itaikban reports.
Viral hepatitis is a global infectious disease that is a threat to public health, with Nigeria being a major contributor to the number of infected persons. The Minister of Health, however, affirmed that the federal government is determined to eliminate viral hepatitis by 2030.
We would rather strengthen the health system than be looking at disease entities. The hepatitis we are talking about, we want it to be tested even at the basic level. So this government will focus more on system rather than on disease.
Former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, on his part said the greater problem is that most people affected have neither heard of the disease or are aware of their status.
Urge the federal and state governments to seriously give consideration to an upward review of the annual budgetary allocation to the federal and state ministries of health to a benchmark that can reduce the burden of viral hepatitis.
The cases of viral hepatitis, experts say, are common amongst people between the ages of 21 and 40. Basi Taikbang, NTA News.
To security matters now, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai says the Nigerian Army is re-strategizing to immediately stop the banditry in Zamfara State and Birnin Gwari axis of Kaduna State. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun reports that the Chief of Army Staff stated this during a visit to military formations in southern Kaduna.
It was an operational visit by the Chief of Army Staff to newly constructed facilities and those renovated by the Nigerian Army. The first port of call was the block of staff quarters at the Nigerian Navy School of Armament Technology, Kachia, and the renovated Omar Musa Erado Auditorium in the joint military facility.
You know what has always gone, before elections, and the level of insecurity always, goes up. And as such, the troops have to be alert to ensure that they maintain the security that is required.
The Chief of Army Staff was also at the Joint Operational Base Kafanchan, where he interacted with officers and men deployed to maintain peace in the area.
Southern Kaduna has witnessed relative peace since the establishment of this forward operation base. The Chief of Army Staff said his troops will continue to maintain peace in this part of the state and the country as a whole.
We are getting the relevant platforms to ensure that we get all the needed intelligence to be able to deal with those issues.
While at the palaces of Emir of Jama'a Alhaji Muhammad Isa Muhammadu and Chief of Kaninkon Tanko Tete, the Chief of Army Staff acknowledged the support of the locals in the peace being enjoyed in southern Kaduna, promising that forward-based operational base will be expanded to a battalion to kickstart motorcycle operation by special forces in the area. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
The Nigerian Armed Forces says it will not be business as usual for armed bandits wreaking havoc in towns and villages in Zamfara State. This was made known by the Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Akbasa Okon in Katsina State.
Really land there and protect all of them. So Katsina happens to be the best place for that, and that is why we are here. More will still be arriving after today, and some personnel are still coming in, and other equipment for the same operation. The Hiluxes are coming in to support the same operation. That's why I'm telling you that it's going to be a total departure from what we've been having before. Just like the name of the operation implies, Diran Mikia.
Correspondent Olajide Bello reports that Air Vice Marshal Okon from Katsina proceeded to the Nigerian Air Force Quick Response Group in Gusau, Zamfara State for an on-the-spot inspection. The federal government is to partner with the Voice of America to combat fake news. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed solicited for this collaboration with the director of the organization who visited him in Abuja. Anthony Fosun reports.
Tackling the havoc fake news has caused humanity from old, Lai Mohammed said the media must tread with caution.
Because the greatest challenge the entire world is facing today is actually fake news. And even the BBC reported that the herdsmen, farmers' clashes, and even other conflicts in Nigeria in particular have been fueled largely by fake news. And how it is a threat to peace, democracy, and even the entire corporate existence of Nigeria.
The federal government, the minister said, having spotted the danger signals, went to work, galvanizing to tackle the menace, which is fueling pockets of the crisis the country is facing. But the sweeting story is that the federal government is on top of the situation.
Criminality in any form is abhorred by this government. And I'm glad that even if the media refuses to report it, these killings are on the decline. Because the government has put in motion certain steps to check the killings.
The minister explained efforts of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration's commitment to fulfilling its three-point agenda upon which it campaigned. Leader of the delegation and director of the Voice of America, Amanda Bennett, said Nigeria with its size and population, stand as the organization's largest listenership. And as a government-funded organization, they have a role to play in combating negative ideals.
I think we hopefully play an important role here because Voice of America provides around the world fair, objective, neutral, and fact-based information. Nothing of the fake news.
Amanda Barnett is accompanied on the trip by Ngese Mengesha, Director, Voice of America, Africa Division, as well as Ali Mustafa, Managing Editor, Voice of America, Hausa Service. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Time to take a break for some messages. We have more reports when we come back.